three scenes in the 1975 film Jaws, but one was unforgettable. Chief Brody? Yes.
These are some of the famous lives that have been lost due to the COVID-19 coronavirus.
Years at the Island Theater Workshop, teaching well over 1,000 kids. Lee's mark on the island is indelible, the workshop's Kevin Ryan said. Lee Fierro was 91.
David Driscoll is a modern-day dream keeper.
Professor David Driscoll was a champion of African-American art. Awarded the National Humanities Medal by President Clinton in 2000.
Oh, God bless him.
Was an acclaimed artist himself. As a curator, collector, and professor at the University of Maryland, he pushed for black art to be seen as American art.
That's it.
David Driscoll was
American art. Don't label it.
Best-selling writer Patricia Bosworth wrote acclaimed biographies of Montgomery Clift, Marlon Brando, and Jane Fonda, and started as an actress herself, appearing on Broadway and opposite Audrey Hepburn in the 1959 film The Nun Story.
I'm not taking my vows. I'm leaving.
Patricia Bosworth was 86.
I've been playing at the El Chapultepec since January of 1980.
Freddie Rodriguez Sr. was the heart and soul of Denver's jazz scene, a regular at clubs like El Chapultepec, where he played up until last month. Son Freddie Jr. was one of his bandmates. His wife Fina he met 75 years ago. Jazz, he said, is a projection of what you are. Freddie Rodriguez Sr. was 89. Nick Jesdanen,
Boy, they're all elderly.
editor with the Associated Press.
They must all had a weakened immune system.
Videos.
You might still need your passcode during Halloween.
Jesdanen was an avid adventurer and ran marathons on every continent. He always helped his fellow runners if they were in distress, said his cousin, and he tirelessly helped young AP writers improve their pieces. Nick Jesdanen was 51.
Well, he's the youngest.
Frida Okran was a nurse educator and former head nurse at Jacobi Medical Center in the Bronx, New York. As the coronavirus spread, she posted this picture on Facebook, writing, "I
Aww.
can't stay home. I'm a healthcare worker." 4 days later, she was admitted to the hospital. Joseph, her husband of 30 years, said they came from Ghana together, and both became nurses.
Oh,
She's
God
my
bless them.
My wife, friend, my advisor. Frida Okran was 50.
So young.
Was better known in New Orleans as Go DJ Gordon Mild. He worked the clubs and brought New Orleans bounce music to his radio shows. A father of four, Stokes coached football at a charter school. He would literally give you the last dollar in his pocket.
Oh, that's like me.
He died 4 days shy of their second wedding anniversary.
Oh.
Oliver Stokes Jr. was 44.
Boy, he was young too.
Put this together every week.
Face?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Because there are so many of them, Gail. There's so many people. It's so hard. There's so many you want to include. There's so many remarkable lives who've been lost. It's just very, very sad.
What I was saying is anytime you can put a human face and tell their story to the number, it makes such a difference that we get to see the lives that these people led, that they were loved. And I just worry about all the other people who unfortunately will join this club. People are worried about it today. It's a club that nobody wants to join, and I'm so glad that you're telling us their stories.
It's really sad to me watching that this virus is, people don't understand. It's serious. You know, please keep your distance from people and use Lysol and, you know, just all the people that's got to be out in the public. I pray for you every single day in my life. But, Oh, I look a mess. I was sick all day yesterday, so I'm just not looking my best. And I apologize, but I just got up. I wanted to watch the news, and first thing I wanted is about the COVID-19 pandemic, and they were showing some of the famous people that has lost their lives, but they don't, you can't tell everybody's story, I know, but they don't tell about the other people. One of my organizations, Little Wagon Tails, I'm hoping to get it all legalized. It was in Florida, but it's a shelter. I want it to be a homeless shelter for the homeless animals that have lost their loved ones, their own, their human owners due to the virus or some tragic, house fire. They're displaced animals because they have hearts too. Can you imagine if you were a single person and you had a pet and you died, and what happens to your pet? Sometimes, there's not a family member that can take the pet and take care of them. Well, that's what Little Wagon Tails is. It's like a refuge for the displaced animals. That's what I'd like it to be. I'm working on it. It's a slow progress. But I just wanted to say good morning to everybody. It's Friday, April 10th, 2020. I don't know what time it is. Hang on. It looks like 8:25. So I was just writing another submission to Ellen, telling her about my coffee with, how I do on my YouTube coffee with someone every Friday. So this Friday, was having coffee with Ellen. I'm making my frozen coffee, and I was in there writing her the submission letter to her show because she's taping at her home now. And I always dream about her, like, calling me on the phone like she does with all her friends, Hey, what you doing? What you doing? Her videos crack me up. But, yeah, I wish she would call me. I'd love to sit and talk to Ellen on the telephone. I think it'd be so cool. Or even video chat with her. I'd love to tell her how her fan club had me jinxed for a hot minute. And, I thought I really won the grand prize giveaway to the Ellen DeGeneres sweepstakes giveaway. But that didn't happen, so I'm writing her again. I'm not going to stop until she listens to me. So, today might not be the day she's watching her YouTube channel or her TikTok or anything like that. But I've been following Ellen since 2009. And I tell her in my story of me and my sister, Ia, we were recuperating from surgery. My niece Missy was taking care of us. And we went out to one of the stores for shopping. And we kept hearing mumbling over the intercom. And I said to Kathy, I said, what are they saying? And Missy comes up and says, Hern and Ia. Get it? Hernia. And I was like, oh my God, it's Hern and Ia. So I dedicated my life to my sister just at that moment when we were recuperating. We would lay in bed and because we had a double bed and Missy was nursing us, and we'd watch Ellen every day. And I said, one day she was talking about her dreams, and I said, Kath, I have a dream. I said, one day I hope to make an amusement park. I said, I hope to have organizations, humanitarian, nonprofit organizations, to raise enough money to create, build, and design the first ever handicap amusement park. And it's called aplaceforme.org. So it's in my mind. It's not all legalized on paper yet because I don't have the funds to do it. But I'm trying to raise the funds through donations, through my book, A Note to My Daughter, Hernania. Hernania is an apparel line that's designed and created by myself to enhance the lives of ostomy patients. I'm working on a maternity line right now. It's an apparel company to make women feel beautiful, no matter if they have an ostomy or a hernia or anything. And I'm working on a maternity line for it, so stay tuned, there's more. I have a lot of things going at my way. In my memoir to my children, oh my God, I talk about so much stuff. I talk about marriage, children, what a blessing from God they are, divorce, adultery, drug addiction, pharmaceutical drug addiction, attempted suicide, heroin overdose, drug addiction, living with Crohn's disease, suffering with mental illness, and child abuse. I talk about my whole life. It's in my memoir. And I've been writing this memoir since I was 7 years old. You can ask my kids, they laugh at me. They say, Mom's had a pen and a camera in her hand since we were wee-high to grasshoppers. And it's the God's honest truth. I got my first camera when I was 16. It was my 16th birthday from my father. And it was a little 110 camera. And I absolutely loved it. And I was so intrigued by photography and nature that when I was in high school, I was in all 3 years of photography class. And I absolutely loved it. It was like the cornerstone of my life. And right then and I knew that one day I wanted to be a photographer. And my sister always says I'm a photographer in my own mind. But if that's how I am, then that's how I am. But I enjoy taking pictures of nature and people and life and abstracts and buildings, but mostly nature. I just absolutely love nature. And it is instilled in my children. My firstborn child, she is a nature lover like myself, and oh my God, she was born lifting up rocks, looking for worms and bugs and all kinds of things. Excuse me, I don't have the coronavirus. I've been in my house almost 2 months. I have a very low immune system, so I usually don't go out in the public. If I have to, like yesterday, I had to go to Walmart and get some prescriptions. I make sure I'm protected. And you'll see in my videos that I'm well protected. I carry a can of Lysol around with me. And if people don't stay 6 feet away from me, they definitely get sprayed. They're warned. If I see anybody get close to me. I was born with a disease that has no cure. It's called Crohn's disease. And in 2009, I lost my colon due to Crohn's disease. So I've been wearing an ostomy pouch since September. I'm sorry, since February 3rd, 2003. I almost died a few times due to complications. And I was like this close to death several times. So I live with it daily. Out of a week, out of 7 days, I'm probably sick. Crohn's gets me about 3 days out of 7. I try to eat the proper foods, but I have a lot of medical issues. I have just a lot of medical issues from having Crohn's my whole life. My bones are frail. You know, I have osteoporosis, deterioration of the spine, or something like that. Right now they say I had something with my back. Something with my spine in the back on the L4 and L5. So I have a lot of medical issues, but I deal with it one day at a time. I always look for the best in every possible situation, so it's something I just got to deal with. There's days where I can't make videos, and you'll see why, and those that follow me know why. I'm either vomiting or sicker than a dog. That's how I was yesterday. I felt like vomiting all day. I was in a lot of pain. I try to do pain naturally. I have a prescription pain medicine, but I don't take it as directed only because I don't want to be addicted to drugs. So I try to do things naturally. But I will take it if the pain is just so severe. But by that time, I'm usually throwing up from the pain, so nothing helps by that time. I just have to, it's got to work its way out of my system. So I have to be very careful what I eat. I eat 5-6 meals a day, and I eat little small portions because my body doesn't digest food properly. It's called gastroparesiosis, and it's very painful at times. I take lots of medication for it, so I pretty much been medicated on some kind of stomach medicine or what have you ever since I was probably 15 or 16. I remember as a young child, my grandparents used to tell me I was always in the hospital for stomach issues, but back then they didn't know what it was. And it wasn't until 2003, I found a gastroenterologist at St. Joseph's Hospital in Baltimore, Maryland, Dr. Malik, and I was in the elevator on my way to see him as my first visit, believe it or not. How it first started for me, some of the symptoms was I had blood in my stool. I was a teenager and I would drink on the weekends, and we would make cocktails of, what's it called? Screwdriver, vodka and orange juice. I only drank on the weekends, you know, young teenager stuff. But my dad always said, if you're going to drink, at least drink at home or drink where I know you're safe. So I was over my first boyfriend's house, and I was always safe there with his parents and, you know, what have you. So we would drink cocktails, vodka and orange juice. And one morning I woke up and there was blood in my stool. And I was like, well, that's a little weird. And then it started to more often. So at that time, I stopped drinking. I thought, okay, well, maybe it's something in the alcohol or the orange juice. And during this time in my life, I was probably 15 then. I have to ask my first boyfriend, but I was always in the bathroom. I would go to the bathroom quite often. And so I tried to go see a doctor, and I seen a couple and nobody knew what was going on. So one day I found this doctor Dr. Malik, Shawalki Malik at St. Joseph's Hospital in Towson, Maryland. I remember I was in the elevator going into his office to see him for the very first time, and I collapsed in the elevator. Next thing you know, I come to, and I told them I have an appointment with Dr. Malik, and he immediately sent me into the hospital. I weighed probably 98 pounds, and this is coming from a person that's normally like 130. I mean, I probably wore size 9 pants, 8, 9 in high school, and I wear that size now. My average weight is normally about 130, 135. I was down to 98 pounds. It wasn't pretty. My pants would fall off of me, and I was deathly sick. And he said, "You have Crohn's disease." And I said, "Crohn's disease, what's that?" And he said, "It's an inflammatory bowel disorder." Now, back in 2003, they didn't really know much about Crohn's and colitis. But he said from statistics, it is not good to have offspring because it can come in every 5th generation, as far as that's what they knew back then. So I wasn't planning to have children due to this very fact. I didn't want to produce a child that I knew could possibly have Crohn's disease. So I was just a person to not have children. My sister Dee had plenty for us all anyhow. I just bought my first home, and that was December, day after Christmas, December 26th. And come that spring, couple months later, this is a funny story. A couple months later, my boobs were growing like wildfires. And I would come home from work. Me and my boyfriend, we lived together. We loved each other. We knew we were going to get married one day. We just didn't know when. We wanted our situation to be better because we purchased that home in order to take care of our families. I grew up on 2 streets away, and his mother lived in Gardenville, and she was elderly, and it was much easier to buy the home than rent. My ex-husband asked my father if I could move out. I was 19, and he said absolutely not. He said the only way she's going to move out is if you buy a home, if she buys a home. So I had $2,000 in my savings account, and he had $2,000 in his. I worked at Alpaca Ford at the time, and so did he. And we put our money together because I looked online or somewhere. I said, as much as you pay rent to somebody else, you can buy your own home. We can buy a home together for probably $10 more than what you're paying here for rent. It's the only way my dad's going to let me move out. And believe me, I was 19, so. But I bought my first home. I split the cost with my husband, and that's the house on Glenmore Avenue, and that's the house where I raised my children. It's the only house that I've ever bought until now. So I'm trying to find. I live in Shelby, North Carolina now, and I'm trying to find a rent-to-own home in either South Carolina or North Carolina, someplace affordable and someplace that can be turned into a humanitarian nonprofit organization called Healing Hearts and Healing House. It will be a home for displaced families, whether it be a mom and her children or a dad and his children that need shelter for the night, food in their mouth to eat, and a place to rest their heads, and a safe place that they can call home while they heal, restore their health, restore their soul, and their mind. It'll be a temporary housing situation, and I have plans to make it a nonprofit organization. So my family or my children will always have a place to come to when they come to North Carolina. They will always have a place to sleep and rest their heads and have a meal in their tummies. So this is a gift that I'm giving to my children. Also, hernia. Hernia is my trademark for a designer line of ostomy clothing for women and soon to be men. I would like it to enhance the lives of women that live with an ostomy or colostomy or hernia. You know, there's no reason that women should feel like I used to feel like when I first had my surgery. It took me many, many years to love my body. And that's God's honest truth. But this is the life that I'm given, and this is the life that I'm cherishing, and this is the life that I got to take care of. This body right here. So if I can help somebody and make them feel good or put a smile on their face, then God will, and not, you know, that makes me happy in my heart. Because a note to my daughter, look at this beautiful face. Hi, that's Moses. Good morning, Moses. He's one of my subjects I photograph a lot. That's my sister's kitty. And the other one is out there in the yard. That's Emma Jean. You'll see her a lot in my photographs. But I'm learning a lot about myself. Just recently, I just lived through a year of torture, of mental abuse and physical abuse. For almost a year, I completely lost myself. I didn't know who I was, but I knew it wasn't who I used to be. I allowed somehow another woman to put her hands on me and literally beat me and deal with mental abuse for a whole entire year of my life. It was pure torture. I reported it to the Halifax Hospital in Daytona Beach, and they did nothing about it. So they tried to do something about it. So that's not necessarily true. They tried to do something about it. But the person that was abusing me intervened and turned the story around to look like I was the villain and not the victim. I was abused several times a week. I'd have my face squished in, jewelry ripped off my neck, pinched my neck, punches in my arm, punches down my back, my legs. I had a screwdriver go through my big toe, my great toe. Almost went through it all. I had my hand in a cup. My thumb now has a permanent T on it. It was cut. I was ripped out of the home by my hair, dragged down the steps, and kicked out of my last place of residence with not even shoes on my feet. I was told to not come back to her home or she was going to call the police on me. Knowing I never had a police record and knowing that I needed to get the heck out of there because something seriously was going to happen to me if I did not. The woman was mentally unstable, screamed at the top of her lungs, cursed me out. I was so sick for that year. I lost so much weight. My nerves were in knots, just balls and balls of knots. I couldn't eat. I couldn't sleep. And she just had my mind crazy. I knew in my heart it wasn't right. For a full year, I lost connection with my family. I would be distant because I didn't know how to tell anybody. I was ashamed that I allowed somebody to put their hands on me. I'm sorry, I'm an ugly crier, but I was ashamed because after I was abused by my father, I swore nobody would ever put their hands on me again, whether it be male or female. And I was so low. She made me feel so low, my self-esteem and everything about me, that the devil just snuck right in there and grabbed a hold of me and just shook me like a rag doll. But I'm back, and I'm healing, trying to. I think I'm doing a good job so far. I use social media as a platform to get my word out to anybody, to anyone that's contemplating suicide. Just might find a copy of my book and pick it up and read something, just anything, and it'll change their moment just for that minute. Because I was there. I was so low in my life at one period in time that I tried to overdose on drugs. It was a depression drug for depression. I didn't know it couldn't kill you, but yeah, I crushed them up and swallowed about 270 of them. I wanted to die. I was so low in my life, I wanted to die. But Jehovah says, you know what, Theresa Reinhardt, today's not your day, and you're going to get up, and you're going to put a smile on your face, and you're going to look out the window and look at the beauty that I gave you, and stop complaining. I wrote several books. I'm an author. I'm a photojournalist. I'm an artist. I'm a creative content writer. I'm a crybaby. But I'm honest, and I speak from my heart. Everything I do in my life, I do for my children. Because if it wasn't for God, they wouldn't be here today. And they are the loves of my life. My children, both of my daughters, are true blessings to me. I was told to have an abortion with both of them. One because I was on birth control pills when I conceived. And one because I was taking medication for my stomach, Crohn's disease, when I conceived. One was due Christmas Day, December 25th, and one was due December 26th. One daughter is born January 20th, 1988, and the other one's just 3 years apart, January 17th, 1991. They are the absolute true loves of my life. And everything I do for you. I love my kids so much. They have no idea how much love I love for them. I might not show it all the time, but there's not a day that don't go by in my life that I don't show my loved ones one way or another that I'm thinking of them and I love them. All the way down from my sisters to my brother, my children, my grandchildren. I have 5 beautiful grandchildren I was blessed with. It's unbelievable. I'm a grandmother, and I never even had plans to be a mom. I communicate to my grandchildren every single day of my life in one way or another. I may not be there with them physically, but mentally and in my heart. They live in my heart daily. And there's not a minute that don't go by that I don't think of them. All the way from the oldest to the youngest. So I'm learning this all to my own. I'm teaching myself how to write a book. Never wrote a book, but so far I've wrote a couple books. But wait, there's more because they're soon to be coming out. Every book I wrote, I've written, I've taken the photographs, and I've done the illustrations. I'm kind of proud of myself because I've been doing this my whole life. And just this past year, I said, Theresa Reinhardt, like Pop used to tell me, you're either going to shit or get off the pot. So guess what I did? I got off the pot. And I have a goal for myself to finish my first book by December 31st, 2020, 11:59 p.m. So my first book is going to hit the market on that day and that time. That I can guarantee. Might not be the perfect book in the world, but it will be out. I have many books. I have a note to my daughter, of course, my memoir to my children. I have In the Eyes of the Beholder is a photo book. I have Reflections, which is dedicated to my children on the day of their birth. I have Blueberry River, which is the first addition to my many children's books. It was written and dedicated to my first grandchild, children, Cole and Brandon. And I'm currently writing another one for the next grandchild. I'm a very busy woman. I currently work at Sam's Club. I've been there 7 years, but I'm on a medical leave of absence. So till I can get released, this is what Theresa Reinhardt's doing, because I'm not going to sit around and waste my life one day more. God's given me a second chance. I had a heart attack in December 13th, 2017. Ain't many times you get a second chance at a heart attack. So out of my day, I make sure I take at least 10, 15 minutes out of my day to make my soul happy. Whether it's gardening, taking pictures of the kitty cat, or looking at a bug, I make sure I take a few minutes out of my day to make my soul happy. I appreciate everybody watching me and sharing my channel, and I hope one day that you'll pick up my book and put a smile on your face. You know, hey, this was me. This is my story. This is my story to my children and to all my loves. My book will be no charge. It'll be free to anyone that wants a copy of it. Anyone that supports me and my endeavors will certainly get a signed copy of my book. Any donations from my book or any of my nonprofit organizations all go back into the works of what God gave me. You know, It just goes back into it. You can't die. I mean, you can't take it with you when you die. So share it. Find your purpose in life. And your gift of life is to share it with others. So I'm sharing my gift of my life with you. My name's Theresa Reinhardt. You're watching The Note to My Daughters. But wait, there's more.